A water slide that sends you through a tunnel surrounded by sharks. Another that drops you 51 meters at over 100 kilometers per hour, faster than most roller coasters. One that takes nearly 3 minutes to finish and stretches over 500 meters. And one with a double loop that starts with the floor disappearing beneath your feet without warning. Today we're counting down 9 of the most insane water slides ever built. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what's coming next. Drop a like before we start. Takes 2 seconds. Now let's get into it.
Number 9. Summit Plummet, Florida, USA. At the entrance of one of Florida's most famous water parks sits an enormous artificial mountain covered in fake snow. It stands about 36 meters tall, the equivalent of a 12-story building, and it exists for one reason: to give people the closest thing to freefall a water slide can deliver. The descent is almost completely vertical. Within seconds of pushing off, riders reach speeds approaching 100 kilometers per hour. There's no time to process what's happening. The acceleration is immediate and the bottom arrives before most people feel ready for it. The sensation has been described as closer to jumping off a building than sliding down a water slide. It's one of the most photographed structures in the entire complex, which makes sense. It looks just as intimidating from the ground as it feels from the top. Number 8. Insano, Fortaleza, Brazil. For years, the Insano held a place among the tallest water slides on the planet, and the name was never an exaggeration. Standing at the height of a 14-story building, the slide is nearly vertical from top to bottom. The entire descent takes less than 5 seconds. In that time, riders exceed 100 kilometers per hour before hitting the pool at the bottom. The experience is so compressed and so intense that most people struggle to describe exactly what happened, only that it was over before they fully understood it had started. People who have done it consistently report remembering every single second of those 5 seconds for years afterward. A ride that lasts less time than it takes to read this paragraph and stays with you far longer than almost anything else at a water park.
Number 7. Leap of Faith, Paradise Island, Bahamas. Few attraction names in the world are as accurate as Leap of Faith. The slide is built into a structure designed to look like an ancient temple, and the descent begins with an extremely steep drop that builds speed quickly. But the moment that defines the entire experience, the reason people travel specifically to ride this slide, comes midway through the course. The tube turns transparent, and surrounding that transparent tube is a lagoon filled with sharks. For a few seconds, riders can see the sharks swimming on the other side of the acrylic walls, inches away, while moving at high speed through the enclosure. The entire structure is engineered to make that proximity feel real while keeping everyone completely safe. Intellectually, every rider knows they're protected. Physically, the brain doesn't fully accept that while it's happening. It's one of the few water slides in the world that delivers genuine psychological terror alongside the physical experience of the ride itself.
Number 6. Wurgler Waterwelt, Austria. Most water slides move in one direction, down. The Wurgler Waterwelt in Austria decided that wasn't enough and built one of the first slides in the world to include a double loop. The experience begins unconventionally. Riders enter a closed capsule at the top and wait. There's no countdown, no warning, the floor simply disappears, triggering a drop of approximately 14 meters. The speed accumulated during that initial freefall is precisely what makes the loops possible. The momentum carries riders through both inversions before the course levels out and delivers them to the end. Going upside down on a water slide is a concept that sounds impossible until you're inside the capsule waiting for the floor to open, at which point it becomes very real very quickly. Number 5. Kilimanjaro, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Located in the interior of Rio de Janeiro state, the Kilimanjaro has spent years among the tallest water slides ever constructed, and the numbers make clear why. The structure reaches approximately 50 meters, 170 stories of near vertical drop at an incline close to 60 degrees. Riders reach speeds around 100 kilometers per hour on the way down. The entire descent lasts approximately 5 seconds. That combination of height, angle, and speed produces an experience that most riders describe as genuinely difficult to process in real time. The brain receives too much information too quickly, and the body arrives at the bottom before it is fully registered what just happened at the top. Brazil produced 2 entries on this list, and both of them earned their place through raw, uncomplicated intensity. Number 4. Wild Beast, Indiana, USA. When Wild Beast opened in 2010, it immediately claimed the title of the longest water slide on the planet, and the length is what makes it unlike anything else on this list. At 518 meters, the ride uses large inflatable rafts that seat up to 4 people and takes approximately 2.5 minutes to complete. That's not a typo. 2.5 minutes on a water slide, with curves, drops, rises, and changes of direction that keep the experience moving constantly from start to finish. Most extreme water slides are measured in seconds. Wild Beast is measured in minutes, which creates a completely different kind of experience.
The intensity isn't concentrated into one terrifying moment. It's spread across a course long enough that riders have time to catch their breath, look around, and then hit the next section before they're ready.
Number 3. Aqualoop, Queensland, Australia. Loop water slides are among the most extreme attractions ever built for a water park. The Aqualoop in Queensland, Australia is one of the best examples of what that format can actually deliver when taken seriously. The experience begins inside a capsule. Riders step in, the door closes, and then comes the part that separates this slide from almost everything else: the waiting. There's a countdown. The audience outside can see the capsule from a distance, and then, without any additional warning, the floor drops away completely. The initial fall covers nearly 17 meters before the course takes over. From that point, the water accelerates riders to approximately 60 kilometers per hour through a route that covers more than 95 meters of track, including tight curves and the full loop that gives the attraction its name. The loop is the moment the body genuinely struggles to process. Going inverted on a water slide with water and speed and centrifugal force all operating simultaneously produces a sensation that no amount of description fully prepares a rider for. The course ends by depositing riders into the pool at the bottom, usually before they've had time to fully process what just happened to them.
Number 2. Scorpion's Tail, Wisconsin, USA. The Scorpion's Tail is 10 stories tall, covers more than 120 meters of track, and is partially constructed from transparent material, so anyone standing nearby can watch exactly what happens to riders from the outside while it's happening. What they see? A capsule at the top, a floor that disappears, a near vertical drop, and then a series of curves and inversions at high speed before the slide levels out at the bottom. What riders experience? A few seconds of waiting in the capsule, the sudden absence of the floor beneath their feet, and then speed and direction changes that arrive faster than the brain can process them. The transparency of the structure means the experience exists on two levels simultaneously, as something to watch from the ground and as something to survive from the inside.
Number 1. Verrückt, Kansas City, USA. Verrückt means crazy in German. The name was chosen deliberately, and it was accurate. At 51.37 meters, more than 17 stories, Verrückt held the Guinness World Record for the tallest water slide ever built. Riders reached speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour on the initial descent, surpassing the top speed of many roller coasters. The drop was so extreme that the engineering required to make it safe took significantly longer than anticipated, delaying the opening well past its originally announced date. When it finally opened, it delivered exactly what the name promised. The slide is no longer in operation, but during its time, it represented the absolute limit of what the water slide format had ever achieved. Taller, faster, and more extreme than anything built before it. A ride that existed at the edge of what was considered possible, and that made that edge very clear to everyone who went over it.
9 slides. 9 completely different answers to the same question. How far can a water slide actually go? A near vertical drop at 100 kilometers per hour, a transparent tunnel through a shark lagoon, a course that takes 3 minutes and covers over 500 meters, a capsule with a floor that disappears without warning, a structure so extreme it held a world record and no longer exists. What all of them have in common isn't the height or the speed, it's the moment at the top, before anything starts, when the decision has already been made and there's nothing left to do but go. That moment is the same on every slide on this list, regardless of what comes after it. Drop a like if at least one of these made you want to book a flight, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next, and comment below. Which one would you actually ride? We read every single comment.